السلام عليكم. آه، Who's gonna speak today or present,
Me and Dahlia.
Dahlia and
Yes.
Marwa. Just I'll give you the sharing. Just a second. كيف الحال؟
الحمد لله.
السلام عليكم رؤى.
عليكم السلام دكتور نادر، عزة، داليا وعلي لبابا وائل، كيفكم؟
عليكم السلام.
I think you are all set if you wanna share the screen. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Telegeriatric Research Fellowship. If you are ready, you can take the stage.
Can I go first, Dahlia? Or
Yeah, I see, of course.
right. You see my screen?
Yes.
Right. So my presentation today is about writing your paper title or the research title, since the title is the most important and crucial part, of course, and it's obviously the most read part. So by title, we mean that the title needs to summarize the main idea or the behind your study, and basically answer the question that you are doing your research about. So a good title. So by a good title, we need to understand that it has certain characteristics. A fewer possible words that accurately describe your content and your purpose of your research paper. And of course, it's the first chance to make a good impression in addition to catching the eye of the potential reader. We will be looking into the structure and the writing style. The following parameters can be used to help you to formulate your suitable research paper title. We need to look into the purpose of the research itself. The title needs to capture the purpose of the research and answer the basic question of your research or your paper. And it needs to capture the narrative tone of your paper, and this is typically defined by the type of the research that you're doing. And in the title, we need also to include the methods that you're using. And the initial aim of the title is, of course, to be capturing your reader's eye and draw their attention to your paper. This is a basic formula of the title: results, a method, the study of, among sample. We will understand that further on. Okay, I'll be talking on working title and final title. Creating a working title is something that you will do at the start of your study. This is typically created, the final title is created when the research is completed. So the working title should be developed early in the research process. This can help you anchor the focus of your study, and it's the same way the research problem does. So you're going to be referring back to a working title to help you reorient yourself to the main purpose of your study, so you will not be scattering yourself all over the place. And of course, as you go on, you will develop a more structured final title. So it's probably a normal thing to start with the working title and end up with a more formulated, well, and final title. Okay, the final title is it's the one that you end up with in academic research paper. It has several characteristics, and of course we need to capture everything in your paper. All right, so it indicates the subject and the scope of your study, and you need to avoid using any abbreviations except that the ones that are commonly used in your topic. Use words that create a positive impression and stimulate the reader's interest. Use a current nomenclature from the field of your study. Identify key variables, dependent and independent. May reveal how the paper will be organized. And it should also suggest a relationship between the variables that you are using. And it should be short, that is to be limited to 10 to 15 words. Most of the papers and publishing papers need to be limited to not more than 15 words. So you do not need to include a study of or analysis of or any similar constructions. The titles are usually in the form of a phrase or a sentence. They are not usually in a form of question, though some researchers, they say questions are okay, but a lot of them say just you need to stick to a phrase or a sentence. And of course, you need to use a correct grammar and capitalization. All of the first words of your title and the last word capitalized, including the first word of the subtitle. All are nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs that appear between the first and the last word of the title need to be capitalized as well. As we said in academic paper, the title rarely is followed by an exclamation mark. However, a title or subtitle can be in a form of question. So sometimes we need a subtitle in our paper. Subtitles are quite common, especially in the social science research papers. So these are some examples of subtitles. They are explaining or provide an additional content. Like, for example, this is a title. It says linguistic ethnography and the study of welfare institution as a flow of social practice. And this is the subtitle, the case of residential child care institution as a paradoxical institution. So it's captured an additional content that you are focusing on. And also it can add substance to the literary or provocative or imaginative title. So if you have a title like, listen to what I say, not what I vote, this is somehow an imaginative title. You don't know what that title means. When I add a subtitle, it's the congressional support for the president in Washington and at home. This is how you understand what the big title means. As you can see, this is mainly used in social sciences or not in scientific academic research papers. And also it qualifies the geographic scope of the research. Like the next example, the geopolitics of the eastern border of the European Union, the case of Romania, Moldavia, and Ukraine. This is to specify more the geographical part that you're studying. And also it can qualify the temporal scope of your study. By temporal, I mean, is it permanent or not? The comparison of the progressive era and the Depression and the Depression years, social influences on prediction of the future of library. This study has been done between 1895 and 1940. So that's why we need a subtitle. Okay, and subtitle also focuses on investigating the idea or the theories or work of a particular individual. Like the next example, a delegative conception of politics. And the subtitle is How Francisco Severium Learns the System with Names Related Anarchy and Democracy. I'm here summarizing the basic ideas behind our title. We want to increase the impact of your manuscript title. Just follow these tips. Number one, to ensure the title is clear, interesting, and attract the reader's attention. And we prefer using a declarative title. The title should be around 10 to 15 words. And this is to highlight the aspect of your study using the keywords. Shorter titles increase citations. And also you need to avoid unnecessary words and any technical jargons like study of and analysis of. Make sure the title is conformed to the specific journal guidelines that you are going to publish into. And thank you everybody for listening. And I apologize that my presentation is in all caps, and this is not easy on the eye. When I tried to correct it, it was too late. But thank you guys. And if you have any question, I can answer it.
Thank you so much. This is really great and very concise, very informative and to the point. Thank you so much for the great presentation. It's okay if it's in cap, no problem. So we want the meat, we want the content. So don't be sorry for that. Okay, I think Dalia, if you are ready, then we can go ahead.
Yes, of course. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So today I'll be presenting how to write a literature review. All right. All right. I will start off by talking about what is a review article. A review article is a type of secondary literature that talks about previously published paper or work. Review article give an overview of existing literature in a field, often identifying specific problems or issues and analyzing information from available published work on the topic with a balanced perspectives. The type of review articles are literature review, meta-analysis, and systematic review. Today we'll be talking about literature review. And the definition of literature review is a systematic and comprehensive analysis of books, scholarly articles, and other sources relevant to the specific topic, providing a base of knowledge on the topic. Literature review are designed to identify and critique the existing literature on the topic to justify your research by exposing gaps in the current research. And what is the purpose of a literature review? Is to provide foundation of knowledge on topic, identify area of prior scholarly to prevent duplication and give credit to other researcher, identify inconsistent gap, as I mentioned in research, conflict in previous studies, open question left from other research. It's also the purpose is to identify need for additional research, and that will be justified there in the literature. Also identifying the relationship of works in context of its contribution to the topic and other works. And finally, place your own research within the context of existing literature, making a case for why further study is needed. Um, there are a few types of literature review. There's a standalone literature review in which it's a standalone, so it's written on its own, just the literature review. These are not different from literature review section prescribed above. However, they are not followed by experimental data. They basically fall into literature review in general, basically fall into two categories, narrative review and systematic review. The narrative review, these are theoretical discussion of relevant information on a particular topic and its critical analysis. And these are mostly qualitative in nature, similar to review section of larger articles. So the narrative review, it's organized usually as follows. Introduction, and that the introduction about the paragraph explaining what's important about this topic, and trying to catch the reader eye. It's a forecast of key topics or texts that will appear in the review. It potentially describe of how you found sources and how you analyze them for inclusion and discussion in the review. And then we have the body. In the body, we summarize and synthesize. We give an overview of main points of each source and combine them together. We analyze and interpret. You should, when we're doing the body, don't just paraphrase other researchers. Add your own interpretation where possible. Discuss the significant and finding in relation to the literature as a whole. There is also critical evaluate. Mention the strength and weakness of your sources, and write in well-structured paragraph. Use transition words and topic sentence to draw connection, comparison, and contrast. And then the conclusion, and that is a summarizing the key points of what you have taken from your literature and emphasize their significance. And then there's a systematic review. On the other hand, systematic review follow a well-planned methodology, a qualitative or quantitative analysis, a defined of a number of studies. They usually focus on a single question and have clear study objectives that are worked upon a systematic manner. These studies are based on a well-defined strategy, unlike narrative review. And the systematic review steps are introduction, methods, and that's only in the systematic review. These studies have a comprehensive methodology that starts by narrowing down the literature for the review, and of course the results and discussion. All right. How should we order or organize our the literature review? It could be organized chronologically, and that's by describing each work in succession, starting with the earliest available information, and that's typically in method section of chronological review. You will have a group of studies and publication. For example, the earliest available article of the topic dates for example, 1991 until, for example, 2011. So you start from that time to the present, or 2011, or the latest data or study. This structure is generally used when the focus is to show how ideas or methodology have progressed over time. For instance, a literature review that focuses on skin cancer in teens could possibly be structured in chronological manner by examining earlier methods of diagnosis of treatment, and generally progressing to the latest model and treatments. There's also another type of organizing the literature review by thematic literature review, and that's the author organizes and discuss existing literature based on themes and theoretical concepts that how do they feel of the importance and how to understand the topic in general. For instance, an author writing a literature review on skin cancer in teens using the approach would possibly include separate section on study about melanoma and non-melanoma skin cancer, tanning as a cause of skin cancer, teenager awareness, and attitude to skin cancer and treatment models. So we are just we're just using a theme here and just try to go down with it. Then I'll be talking about citation. A citation is a reference to a source used in your research. It is how you give credit to the author for their creative and intellectual works that you referenced as support for your research. Generally, citation should include author's name, date, publisher information, journal information, or DOI. What is it? The citation styles? Citation styles are a formal way that citation information is formulated. It dedicates what information is included, how it's ordered, as well as punctuation and other formatting. There are many different styles, and each mandate order of appearance of information, such as publication data, title, page number, following the author name, and etc. Convention of punctuation, use of italics, and underlying for emphasis that are particular to their style. So we should always avoid plagiarism, and all of these are defined or considered as plagiarism, like turning in someone's work as your own, failing to put a quotation in quotation marks, copying words or ideas from someone else without giving credit, giving incorrect information about the resource of a source of quotation, changing words by copying sentence structure or of a source without giving credit, and finally using a previous assignment or essay as a new assignment. Then the last but not least, we're talking about the checklist. We should always have choose the right topic. The topic must be interesting to you. It should also be well defined and important to the field. A second thing that you should do is check the literature you have chosen. Monitor the paper you have chosen to review, make change to your bibliography if required. Prepare a complete reference list. Take notes while you're reading. Write interesting bits of information or ideas as you read, so that you don't miss important points when you're writing the review. Decide the format of your review. Decide whether that you should use a thematic chronological approach, as we mentioned earlier, based on the amount and the type of material you have. And then keep the focus specific and interest general. While you focus on a specific topic, make sure your review is also relevant to a broader audience who may want to know about the field. And then analyze critically. Do not summarize. Cover the main finding in the reviewed field. Include topics that are most debated. Add your own thoughts, and instead of reporting what has already been said. So we don't want just to copy paste or to take the other researcher idea. We should also put our own ideas there, right there in the literature. And get the structure right. Use a flow chart or to map the flow of ideas in your literature review, and ensure that readers get a critical overview of research in the field. And then rely on the feedback, seek feedback from colleagues, peers, and get more perspectives from senior colleagues before submitting your research review for publication. Be objective, avoid sounding as though you are overly critical in favor of previous research. Objectively present the strength and weakness of previous research studies. And lastly, include older studies. Yes, it's really good and important to provide the newest study, but we shouldn't forget about older studies as it has a lot of weight. So it's not necessarily only include the latest studies in your review, include older paper that made a high impact or that discussed the topic you are interested in. And that will be the end of my presentation. I hope you benefit from it, and please let me know if you have any question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dalia. That's also a great, concise, and to the point presentation. Thank you. This is very, very helpful. Now, do you have any comments or any suggestion, any questions to the presenters, please? Uh, Rua, go ahead.
Um, Hi, thank you Azza and Dalia for the great presentation. It was really concise and informative. I have one question for Azza and another question for Dalia. So, Azza, when you mentioned a type of imaginative title, I really want to know, is that like a professional way to write a title, or we should avoid using imaginary way of writing a title? Okay. And for Dalia, I didn't understand when you talk about how to organize the literature review, the other form, the thematic literature review. So if you could explain it more. Thank you.
Thank you, Ra, for your question. What I mean by imaginative title is that title don't give you much about what you're going to discuss in your paper. That sort of titles are usually used in the social sciences. They are not typically used in the academic papers or the research that we're going to do probably. So, so generally, we will refrain from using any title that is too broad or not specifically describing that your content. So in case that you are using the imaginative titles in some of the social sciences papers, you need to add a subtitle to explain what you are doing, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by the caption
Mhm.
of, by your general title? So uh, that's why we are using subtitles to explain. But generally, in the scientific papers, we don't use that kind of titles, if you know what I mean. Did I?
Yeah, now clear. Thank you, Azza.
You're welcome.
All right, Roa, thank you for your question. Yeah, the thematic approach is just as I mentioned, using theme. For example, let's just say you want to talk about um, uh, coronary artery disease in diabetic patient, for example. You want to start with your own way, your way of thinking or the importance of the topic. So, for example, you want to talk about the just an overview over the importance of this topic, and then you will go from, for example, um, um, like the risk factors and then the pathophysiology, and then you want to go for the presentation, like you want to do your own sequences of uh, of your literature. It's not necessarily you are going chronologically, for example, saying in 19 something that happened, and then um, in 2000 and something that happened, you know what I'm saying? So it's your way of trying to collect the after you collected the literature, your way of putting it down. So the other reviewers will have like your own theme. You know what I'm saying? It's just something like that. So there's no hard rule right there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. While go ahead.
Yeah, hello everybody. Thank you, Azza and Dalia, for the great presentations. It's very useful and informative. My question is about citation. Sometimes I get like emails. Your research has recently been cited. Like, what does that mean? Like, can you explain it a little more? Like, does it mean like someone used your research in their literature review, or if you can talk about it a little bit, explain it. Thank you. Does that make
Well,
sense?
yes, yeah, it does make sense. Can you hear me?
Yeah, your
You
voice is a
is
little bit low.
Is it low?
slow, yeah.
Oh, one moment. I think it's still low. Um, but I will try.
That's okay. We can
You can
hear
still
you.
hear me? Okay. Regarding citation, Wael, well, thank you for your question first. That's your citation. Can you just repeat the sentence that you just say? You just said?
Yes, like sometimes I get your research. If I have a research, like for instance, say I have a research and I get emails like your research has been cited. What does that mean? Like,
It means that if I'm not mistaken, that it's been like someone is reviewing your research. For example, if you published it, so someone visited it and saw it. That's my understanding, but I might be wrong about it. Please, I will definitely. Um, I want to hear other people inputs.
oh, okay.
Is it correct, Dr. Nadir?
Let me share this. So the question, uh, the citation, when you get an email, oops, am I, this is what. So let's say you published a paper and your name, your title uh, appears here. So people will read your article, right? That's the reading, how many people read your article. It's like viewing a video on YouTube. How many people watch the video? It's just the number of people. So watching or reading, this has some impact, but it's very light. It's not uh, huge impact. The impact happens when one of these readers is interested and writing their own paper and putting your article as a reference. Let's say I took this first article and I put it on my new paper that I'm writing as a reference. This is when I'm citing or referring to this paper. So the more people citing or referencing your paper, the more impact your paper is. Let's say I wrote this paper and 1,000 read the article. It doesn't matter if they read it. But if out of these 1,000 people, 500 wrote their own articles and referenced mine, so my impact will be on 500 who are referencing my paper. That means my paper affecting a lot of researchers who presented their work depending on my findings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and this is citation, right?
This is citation.
Uh-huh.
And when you are looking at, let's say, this one, to do the citation, you have sometimes on the paper itself, this is the website from the PubMed. When you are reading it, you will say, oh, this is really great. This is matching one of my ideas that I want to talk about. Let's say I want to talk about analysis and thematic type of analysis in geriatric population, whatever. So my topic is different from this, but part of it, I need to support it with this paper. So this is how you cite or how you reference. So I copy this and it will just take the title, the author name and the date and the name of the journal, some data, and I copy this. I put it as a reference at the end of my uh, manuscript that I'm going to write and submit to a different journal. Let's say now we are talking about we want to write an article about our group, our telegeriatric research fellowship. No fellowship like this, as far as I know, right? So I want to look at studies of fellowship in general. How many fellowships that are there in the United States and how effective they are. Mostly, most of them will be in person, right? But our ideas, one of the ideas is to spread this virtual fellowship. So for me to write about the fellowship and virtual fellowship, I need to look at the previous work, which is actually in-person fellowship, right? So I'll go to the literature review. I'll find a couple of articles about the fellowship in cardiology, fellowship in this, and the effectiveness of doing fellowship, right? So I take these studies and I put it as my reference when I'm talking about the introduction or the discussion. I will say X, let's say Dr. John wrote in his paper in 2010 that a fellowship in cardiology will improve the effectiveness of uh, treating heart failure. So I put this sentence in my paper in the introduction part or in the discussion part, but I put the reference that I got this sentence or concept from the paper that presented by Mr. John, and I put that in my reference list. Does that make sense for you?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
when you publish a paper and the journal sent you an email or ResearchGate sent you an email, that means someone cited, that means referenced your paper in their work. And the more reference you get, the more citation your paper is, the more impact or important your work is shown to the other people. And when you look at some of these articles, at the end, you will be here, you can see cited by how many articles dependent on this topic or this. So the more number cited this, the more important this article or published paper.
Okay. Thank you.
So during COVID, for instance, uh, my colleague Raza, he's also a geriatrician, and his wife is a psychiatrist. So both of them work on how to develop a way of managing patient with psych issues remotely during this uh, pandemic, and how to establish a protocol, a stepwise. Like if I want to build, now I have a clinic, I want to build a virtual encounter, how to set up the computer, how to set up the patient calling you, how to, like, the steps of doing that. So they did it for patients with psych issues, teenager or older, and how to improve their communication, how to handle them while they are still in their homes. Because in the past, they used to come to the clinic and they meet the counselor and take care of their illness. But now with COVID, everyone is sitting in their home, right? So they want to show all this clinic how to reach out to this patient with mental illness in their homes. For each clinic, the steps to do what you want to do, this, and they publish it. So a lot of people read their article, which is reading the article is good. Let's say 1,000 or 1 million, whatever. That's not the point. The point when out of this 1,000 or 1 million, 500 wrote about this in their citation. They wrote different ways of doing this, or we found that um, Zoom is better than Google uh, or Meet or something. So how many people cite your work, then your work will be shown as with great impact or important. Does it make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Thanks. That's a good question. The thematic approach Roar asked, now we, uh, or the thematic analysis. So you look at the topic or if you are doing a review, you look at what happened in the past, as Dalia mentioned. So you collect every study in the topic that you are doing, and then take out the conclusion or what they say in each study, and then categorize them by, sometimes we call it like tag. So you categorize uh, papers about a certain topic, we divide it into subsection or subcategories. Uh, each one, then we will say what's the positive or what's the weakness, what's the strengths, compare it, and then go to the next subsection and compare it, and then go to the next section. So you put them in themes and present your work as analyzing these themes. Which one support, which one doesn't support or weak. Similar to the last paper that I sent you, we published about the use of technology or adaptation in older adults. What do they think about using phone or computer? Some people say, I'm for it. Some people say, I'm hesitant. Then we ask why you are hesitant. Some people say, well, I'm hesitant because of the security issue. Some people say I'm hesitant because of the technology advancing very fast. I can't keep up with that. So we put all this into 6, 7 categories and identify all these categories and then analyze or say what's supporting, what doesn't support. Okay, Marwa, go ahead. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dalia and Azza, for the really nice and concise presentations. That was really useful. I just have one question regarding, for example, when I'm citing part of a paper or using it. So if I like if I take the words specifically, I need to put them between quotation marks, and if I'm paraphrasing it, there won't be there is no need for that. And in either case, in both cases, I'm gonna need to put to cite that reference. Is that correct? If you get my question. For example, if I use a specific words like word for word, take this like as it was written in that specific literature, I have to put it in between quotation marks or not, as long as I'm citing it anyway.
Would you please repeat the question? You're talking about quotation and references, right? References,
Mm-hmm.
correct? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So there are a lot of styles for the references. So putting a quotation for on the right there, it's according again, it's according to the style. So I don't think it's necessarily you have to put the quotation again according to the style. That's my answer.
My question is
Mhm.
regarding of trying
Mhm.
to avoid vulgarism. So if I don't put it
Oh,
like specifically like that, should this would be considered as that or not? You get my point. For example, I'm using part of a paper, okay,
uh-huh.
part of result from a paper. If I put it
Right.
specifically the same way as that author wrote it, okay, So
Okay.
is it mandatory to put it between quotation marks, like for example?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Right.
okay,
It is.
thank you.
Mhm.
So again, to just make your point clear, let's say I want to use the same sentence, the first one here. If I want to use it the same way, I have to put it in quotation. If I want to, and most of the time you are not gonna use that. So if you look at the literature review or the papers, most of them, they are not gonna put quotation and they copy the same sentence. What they will do is they will change the sentence a little bit. Let's say uh, two commonly used approaches. We can say in the past there were two approaches for thematic analysis, but now we think there are three approaches, and then reference or cite this paper. So you paraphrase and then cite that uh, part in your presentation or paper. A similar way to Dahlia at the last slide, she mentioned proverb Chinese, right? So she put it between quotation because she just copied paste. But if she wants to use that in during her discussion, she may mention that in Chinese literature or Chinese culture, they do this, and she can paraphrase whatever. And then at the reference, at the end, she can mention that she found it in internet or somewhere. Does it make sense, Marwa?
Yes, it's clear now. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Ali, go ahead.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you, Azza and Dalia, for this great presentation. I just have a question regarding the literature review. Do we have any criteria to select upon the literature? Which paper should I use? I remember when we are in the university, my supervisor instructed me to use paper that's published within, I don't remember, within 5 to 10 years, I think, something like that. I don't know if this for educational purposes or it is what we have to do anyways. And also if there is any, for example, any journals that I should use or anyone, so on. Thank you. And also, Dr. Nadir, if you can send me a link or something for the paper your colleague and his wife has the work they have done. Thank you.
Um, can you hear me, Ali? All right. Well, thank you for your question. Um, there's no, again, hard rule on doing the literature or searching on papers. It's also it's always good to to see in every every you know, like Google Scholar, PubMed, and a lot of references. And it's important to follow with your supervisor, of course, or the company or the institution that you're working at, because they might have their own way or own criteria. So if you are doing your research on your own, it's you can do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? So yes, there's no hard rule. It's always good to to look into a published paper and not specific journals, but of course famous journals, and that will be even better. But we want to not to forget about publishing bias. You want to include everything on your literature. So yes, you know, things that are not, like, you know what I'm saying, the the studies that are not that they're not published yet, the gray zone published paper. So you just want to basically include everything. That's the answer.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
So I agree with Daria that if it's a review, it's better to cover all whatever mentioned about the topic, even if you want to go back many years. Uh, if it's an article that you are talking about new stuff, let's say about this geriatric fellowship, then we can select certain articles that has impact, and then we can reference this. We don't have to go all the way to the detail of the details of articles in doing fellowship, something like that, because we are not comparing or we are not showing people about what happened in the past about this. We are talking about something new, and we want to validate our base for discussion. So we can select a couple of studies in the past, and that's depending on how you define which one is interesting for you, which one supports you. But if you are, as Dalia mentioned, if you are reviewing the whole thing, then you have to mention all studies uh, in your list of discussion. Does that answer your question, or am I confusing you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Lubaba, go ahead.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Azza and Dalia, for a great presentation, very informative. It's very useful. Just a few additions regarding the questions. Marwa's question, to avoid like plagiarism. I think there is number of words that if you feel like you're gonna use more than 7 words of the written article in your new paper, so you need to just quote it, use the whole thing and quote it. But if it is less than 7 words, I think it's a number of words. I'm not sure about 7 or 9. So in that case, you're gonna paraphrase it if it's less than 7 words of the actual article. And as Dr. Nader said, you have to cite in text and the reference at the end of the article to avoid plagiarism. The other thing about Ali's question, as Dr. Nader said, if it is like a literature review, you need to go back in the past and review all those. But usually maybe your supervisor advise you for more recent articles because they would have the summary of what happened, which had been done previously. So they usually encourage having more recent data, especially with technology, stuff like that. It has more valuable information than the old one, as Dr. Nader said. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Lubaba, for the clarification and addition. Thank you. That's very helpful. Any other questions or any other comments? Great. Thank you so much, Az, and thank you, Dalia, for the informative and well done presentations. Good. We can go to the next section if there is no more questions or comments. Any news? Otherwise, any discussion about the interviews? Okay. Hopefully we can hear, or we will hear some good news. So March, matching day is approaching. Tips for ranking for those who did some interviews.
I'm sorry, what is the question?
Any tips for the ranking when you are ranking? You are sending your program list to the match. Any tips you want to share,
Yeah.
Marwa or Daria?
Oh, sorry, Marwa.
Okay, thank you. I guess the most important thing is to put them in order of your own preference. Not like what, like don't be biased, not to be biased regarding the response from the program. They might Some applicants say they send them thank you email and they replied back, so they consider this as a good sign. They're gonna rank me, so I better put them high. Don't be fooled that they might send everyone an email. Even some programs might even send gifts or something like this. So put it in the order where you would prefer it to go. And also, I think if there was a program that you really don't see yourself working there, and for example, I would say this: if the case is you are satisfied with the number of interviews and you feel like I can match, I don't have a problem. Don't put them at all. If you are if you feel confident that you're gonna do well without adding a program that you don't see yourself working there, or for example like the environment is toxic or something like this. So this is just briefly my advice. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Marwa, for sharing your tip. And I do disagree with the last part of it. I think you should include whatever program, even if you don't like it. And the idea behind that is the interview process might be of one person or a couple of person. It doesn't indicate the whole environment there. Yes, you might come across someone who is not that great in the program, but what happens is if you go in, it's only 1 year. You have to get used to that person for 1 year, and then you can transfer. It's easier for you than to wait for the whole year to reapply next year. It's just a matter of, and hopefully you're not gonna get in contact with that person, even if it's the program director every day. When you get into the program, you're gonna be in your rotations. Some of them in the city, some of them you might ask to go to some other rotation electives. So in all, I don't think it's a good idea to, if you did an interview, I think if you don't like the program, put it at the lowest bottom of your list. But still, just in case, hopefully you are not gonna match with that program because you don't like or the environment. But in case you didn't match with all above programs, then whether to get into that or to stay 1 year, my preference or my advice is to get into that program, be patient, and spend the 1 year and then transfer to a different program. It's easier to transfer than to get go. They say put your foot on the door or something. So that's my advice. You can go either way. All right, Dad, I think you wanna add something, or Rua?
Um, yes, I agree with both Marwa and Dr. Nader. In the part that she said, she talked about you should put your order with your own way, not because you think that you did well in that interview, because you can tell. That's the first thing. Dr. Nader, I agree with you in the part that you should rank all the programs, because you just want to put you just want to get yourself in the system. So yeah, as you said, you can change whenever you want or transfer to after PGY1 will be even easier. Second thing, a third thing that I will be talking about the area, there's a lot of criteria for when you about your ordering list, the visa, if needed J1 or visas like that, if the program provided or not, and the area itself, where do you feel, do they have a good lifestyle? If you have a family, do you think that your family will be good there? The schooling and the schooling district, all those things, this it should be put in your mind. And the supporting system, of course, if you have anyone right there, that those are the things that will um, put the program that higher than the other one. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you have also someone in the program itself, it will be great guidance for you. So it will be a plus. So that things like that will help you out with ranking your orders.
Thank you so much, Dali, for the addition. Any other tips or comments? Or I think, Roa, you wanted to add something, or not? That's fine.
Actually, I want to talk about the points that Marwa mentioned and Dalia. So just try to put in mind that, as Marwa mentioned, sometimes you get fooled by the thank you email and the feedbacks you get from the residents. And this happened to me last year. So I think this time you should, I will put the programs in an order that where I feel comfortable with, putting in mind the area itself, the support system, especially if you have like children, the schools in the area, the weather, the work environment itself. Is it a toxic hospital? People are like easy to get along with. Put all things in mind because you're gonna spend at least, not at least, I think 3 years in this area. So it's important to rank the program in the order you are comfortable to. Because, for example, how you rank the program has nothing to do on how they rank you. If you rank a certain program number one, the match process automatically try to match you at your number one choice. And then if you didn't match, then it goes to the number two. So it's important to put them in the order that you like, not depending on how you think they will rank you. So nothing more to add.
Thank you so much, Roa and Marwa and Dalia. This is really informative, and hopefully it will be useful. And I wish you all the best of luck. Great. All right. Let's switch gears and then go to the research projects. So I need an update as far as we have good news. We have the two abstracts accepted at AMDA, and they want us to present. So, Lubaba, maybe you go ahead. You registered, you said.
Yes, so they did provide the link for us to go in and register and familiarize ourselves with the platform that they're going to use. And actually, the registration is limited only for about the 2 hours that our presentation will be live, or actually we will submit a recording for the along with the poster as a PDF. And the 2 hours is going to be just like the chat room, answering questions and asking other presenters. So that's what they gave us registration for it. So, and it looks like only the people who submitted the abstract, they got this benefit of attending. So we emailed, but I don't think, I know Khalid emailed the manager if there is a way that, because he's a presenter and Tamadro as well, but I'm not sure if they receive any answer, but this is as far as learned. And I think Marwa has more information. She was able to go into the website and find some information before they remove it. So she can, she shared with me so she can speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Lubaba. Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Lubaba. Well, honestly, I went to the website and they had more details about all the posters that were accepted. There are 52 posters, I counted them, and they were organized even by according to the letters. They put in letters different. They had some research, and also they had case reports, many of them actually. So, and they had actually, this is the part that was I'm not sure, like somewhat confusing for me. When I opened, I checked the two ones accepted, the case report and the research. They put one person as a primary the primary author, and then they put one person as a presenter, and in both cases it was the primary author, and then they put co-authors as the everyone whose name was mentioned when the abstract was submitted. So I'm not sure like if the presentation is going to be limited to just one person or not. And as Lubaba said, in any case, it's not going to be like a live presentation. It's just going to be just a chance for people to contact you, maybe send you questions, and you answer the questions. Mostly it's going to be question and answer, and just like live interaction. That's it. So I don't know, like afterwards I went back to the website. They removed all of these details. And another thing, also they stated that the posters will be available for reviewing from the 4th of March. So I believe everyone who is a member or registered, I believe, for the meeting will have the chance to go over the posters beforehand. So I believe if anyone is interested, they already will have a good idea about your paper. So you just need to be ready with to answer any form of questions they might have. Thank you.
Thank you for the update, Marwa and Lubaba. Any other comments or questions or addition, Khalid, maybe? Go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Azza and Dalia, for the great presentations, and thanks to all the team members for the great questions and explanations. I emailed the manager as she sent me a link to register, and I registered, but I have very limited information. Nothing more than my just personal information. It didn't give me any link to upload the PDF or to record anything. So I emailed her like if there are any other steps that I need to do anything about them, and I didn't hear yet from her. And I discussed this also with Lubaba, but she told me that she has more steps, I think, and she's able to, she can upload the PDF and I think maybe a recording. And I'm not sure, as Marwa mentioned, this just give a chance to just one person from like every team, or how it works. But still, I'm waiting for a feedback from her. Thank you.
Thank you, Khalid. So let's go back to Lubaba. If you can just, so the first step is registration, which is possibly done. The next step is to send a PDF file with a slide or the poster. The third step is to do the video and upload it to them, or there is no third step like that. And the fourth step is to spend the 2 hours just like a Zoom meeting like this, and if they have questions, then you can answer about your poster. So let's talk about just the third step.
So actually, yes, as Khalid mentioned, that like the first couple 4 steps or tasks that you, your information, the institution you are affiliated with, and all of this, and then yes, uploading the PDF of the poster that you're going to present, and the recording for the material that you're going to. I'm not sure when they're going to play this recording. And the third step is you're going to join on the 10th between 7 and 9 for the chat room, or to answer question. This is my understanding. So basically that's it. So, and I think Marwa mentioned that all of the other abstract was with one author as well, or primary, and the other are co-authors, if I might not, if you can.
Yes.
As far as we found, yeah. So I'm not sure, is that like obligatory one person need to be in the chat room, or you can shuffle things around?
So it's a new thing because of the corona. I think I didn't go to the last meeting last year, but the year before what happened, we go actual, and then you have the poster wall. You just stick your poster and you can stand beside your poster. Usually they give you 2 hours or lunchtime where people will finish with the lectures. They will come and look at the posters, and if they have questions, you'll be by your poster. They can ask you a question, and then you can explain things more elaborate, because the poster itself is limited. Uh, this time with the virtual thing, so they want to keep the PDF so people can read it wherever they can. The video recording, I think it will be similar to the MSU students. Maybe it's different. At least they want you to record the video and upload it to them. They will, I assume, uh, bring it available to the reviewers, because they need to check on you, see which the best abstract, and then they will give an award for the best presenter or best abstract. Not quite sure if it's required for one person to record, or maybe a couple of persons to record like the MSU students.
I think it's gonna be one person, because you record the thing directly into the like the page, that you navigate through the page and they give you instructions. It's not like you record it and you upload it, from what I understood from their description. So I believe, and because it's only 3 minutes, I think it would be possible, and let the people are in the same place, and just maybe just do the first part and then the other one take over. That would be the only way, but I believe in this in current.
Then in that case, if that's the case, then I think one person of you will have the access and then rehearse and then get ready and then record that whenever you.
Yeah, hopefully we get reply. Like as Khalid, he said he sent an email. Hopefully he gets some reply, because one confusing thing actually was the fact that they sent an email to Sumi asking her which one of the two paper or topics will she be presenting. So they, like, as if they're contradicting themselves. I don't know based on what they chose, or like honestly I'm not sure. So I'm not sure if because she already was registered for the thing, or literally I have no clue.
At least if they ask her, maybe. Go ahead, Luaba.
She's already confused. She doesn't know why.
What's that?
She's registered as a student at MSU. I think that's why she had the access, and it happened to be in both abstract. So
yeah. In addition to that, also I think she's an AMDA member.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So I think each project team, they can decide which one registered and can present, and you agree between you guys. If we have two, I hope they have more posters, but if you have only two abstracts that accepted, then maybe two of you will be recording. If you want, and if you prefer, there is a student resident annual meeting here in Lansing for MSU students and residents. So there is a way of submitting. We can do the same abstracts to MSU here, and if accepted, then maybe some of the other team members who did not present, they can work on presenting to the MSU annual, they call resident meeting or something like that, annual conference. So that's another option for presentation and distributing the knowledge. I will send you the information about that shortly, so you will have an idea most likely it will be similar to the student presentation last time that you saw. Any other questions or any other addition comments?
I think that we just left by like creating the poster. I was thinking maybe next weekend or next meeting, Saturday, we can present to the group and get feedback, like the poster that we're going to present, and get some feedbacks and maybe questions to just be prepared for the chat room when we are going there.
I think it's a great idea. So maybe we can divide it into half an hour. The first part, poster one, and then one present, and then we can discuss. And I don't think it will take that long, but maybe within 15, 20 minutes, we can go to the next abstract and then discuss and see. Who's gonna work on putting the slides or the PDF together? I don't think it's a big thing, but
yeah, I don't think it's a lot of work. And thanks for Marwa. She shared with us in the group how to make a scientific poster. I think it was presented at one of the communities, medical communities. It's very helpful. I think I'm happy to join anyone that wants to create the poster, so you can create it and present it to the team. I feel like the most important is the feedback that we get from our colleague and from everyone, and the questions, and be prepared to the chat room so we can stand our ground for
sounds good.
the information that we're going to share.
Sounds good.
Actually, I also would like to add one thing. If anyone in the group have like maybe some, I would say, interest in designing and graphics, that would be really helpful because their perspective from like about if the poster looks nice, comfortable to the eye. I think like main features like the color, the contrast, and how it looks overall. That would be very helpful. So I guess they can come ahead and maybe offer some help if they would like to.
So my suggestion is if you want to work on one for poster one template like Google slide, and then you can instead of one slide you can put the same content, let's say introduction, whatever, and then you can make different slides with different backgrounds or coloring, whatever, and then you agree on, hey, we think the slide number 2 is the best or whatever. So you can work together on doing one of the poster like that and the other one similar with the other team.
One more thing to Marwa remind me. So I was wondering if we have like a specific kind of logo of MSU that is being used. If you have an access to anything in the MSU that we can use at the poster. I was thinking to reach out to Somi, but Dr. Nadir, you might have access.
I think I have a template.
Previous,
I can send you some of my templates. So for MSU, yeah, you have the template, the background, but the logo, they want you to use the MSU logo. And one of the posters related to Sparrow, so maybe we can add a Sparrow logo as well. So one here, one here. At the end, maybe we can just put a thank you sentence to Sparrow team who helped with that. And the other poster with nursing homes, I don't think we need to put there are 3 of them, but we need to put MSU logo. At the bottom also we can add the thank you sentence to acknowledgement for the 3 nursing homes team that work with us.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, actually, there is a. The poster is the depression, right? It's nursing home. It's not the Sparrow.
Yeah.
I got confused. I need more coffee. So that means just the MSU and the logo, and the other poster is the case, so MSU also.
Sounds good.
So I'm gonna send you the template that you can share and then work on that. Good question, good addition. Any other comments or questions?
Just as Marwa said, whoever have the talent of like designing and everything, reach out for
That's
help.
good. That's good. And everyone can work on that. Excellent. All right. So we have finished about any other questions about the abstract. We know what to do. Actions, prepare the slides, and next week two abstract will be presented, and then discussion and question and how to handle that. Anything unclear, let me know. So let's talk about switching to again statistics. How did you do, guys, with SPSS? Did you download? Did you play around with it? Was it easy for you? How? What do you think? No one played with it.
I shared my resume, so I was so busy this week, but
That's all right.
hopefully with the long weekend, I will play with it. I'm sad
Right.
that I'm just wasting my free time.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking of putting a demo with the data that we have. I was thinking of redoing what the statistician did with the paper for the depression part. So maybe you can do that at your leisure. Get the information from the PDF. I think we sent him an Excel sheet. So maybe we can get all this data from the Excel sheet and import it to the SPSS. And what he did, I think, is a t-test. So maybe you can review how to do the t-test and try to do it with SPSS and see how you can get the result. If it's similar, number-wise, it may be different. At this time, it doesn't matter. I want you to know how to do it. The next task is how you want to get a graph out of this. So he also created some bar graph. So maybe you can play around to get that similar and see if you are working on teams, work on this specific just poster for the depression. I think everyone has access to the Excel sheet. If not, Lubaba or Marwa has it. You can share it. If not, let me know. The Excel file that we sent to the statistician. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Okay. Ali, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I just have a question. I have an old version of SPSS. I don't know. I think 2016. I think. So I don't know if it differs a lot from this one or not.
The basics are the same. It's just the coloring maybe. Yes. Some additional extra fancy stuff they added, but the concept and the things are the same. I used it in 2003, 2004, 2005 and 6. And the same for me now when I download the last version. As far as what I want to do and the graph, there is no major changes, so I don't expect differences. It's just how you import the Excel file, how you run the syntax, they call it, about the t-test. There are different types of t-test. use all of them and see what's the difference between them, the results, and then getting the graph done. It shouldn't be a complicated thing for you guys. If you want, there are some videos tutorial. If you still have trouble, let me know. We can go over that. Or maybe one of you guys can do demonstration next week after the poster presentation. Whoever think he can do a 5-minute demo stepwise, as far as even some people might be busy, don't have the time to play around. They will have the idea. Does it make sense, guys? Okay. Any other questions? Any other suggestions? I need to get your input on this. I want to ask you if you want to help writing a paper about this fellowship and publish it. So this might be a good thing. We can work in it together. So who is interested, maybe we can create a team. You don't have all of you, if you are not interested in join, and then we can work on how to apply the concept that presented, the title and the review and introduction, work it step by step, and then hopefully we can get it into a manuscript that we can share or submit for publication. That's one approach. The other approach is to present it in one of these meetings as a poster. So instead of going the whole, because publication is kind of time consuming and back and forth. You have to submit and see if they are accepted. If not, they don't, they send it back to you. So you go to another journal. It may take a while for it to be published, accepted, and so forth. But the shorter way is doing it in a format of abstract, like we can see how people did abstract in similar topics, and then we can create an abstract about the fellowship. And some of you might present it into one of the educational meetings in the USA. So think about it, talk about it, and see who is interested, and get a, maybe we can create 2 teams, one for the abstract, one for the manuscript. Who is interested to get that rolling? That would be a good idea. Go ahead, Marwa.
I think it's a good idea, not only for in a form of feedback, but we can, or like maybe for the coming years, it can be really helpful. But also from this, we can take it from the standpoint that we can actually assess what we have achieved so far and work on improving in areas where we feel like we need to improve. Like for example, like if like we can take this as a chance for everyone of us, like to like maybe like assess their progress, their own progress throughout this month, and also like uh, I would say put a list of like and Lubab actually suggested this a couple of days ago in the group that we can put a document regarding what we wanna achieve for the coming months. So I believe that would help us. Like for example, if I say from presentation, comparing where I have been and where I am not right now, and what are the things that I need to work on regarding this. So I would say this can be really helpful to reflect on ourselves and just to know how to proceed forwards. I think this is a skill that will help us not only now but also during residency. So yeah, I like the idea very much. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's encouraging. Go ahead, Lyle.
Yeah, yes, I agree. It's a very great idea actually to do something about the fellowships. One of the useful things that we can get from this is when someone asks you about the fellowship, you will be more comfortable talking about it, because if they saw it on your CV, they definitely is gonna ask about it during the interview season. So if you have, and I think everyone should be involved in this, so you will get very comfortable talking about it. Yeah, it's a great idea. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for the support. This is encouraging as well. Thank you. Excellent. Okay. Uh, any other questions before we conclude the meeting? Any other comments? Uh, Last thing, maybe I want to discuss about the leadership. We talked about how you, uh, in your team, you can divide each month. There will be a team leader, or, and there is a project leader. I wanted to take it one more step higher. So I want you to voluntarily uh, work with me. So I want each meeting from now on, there will be one of you who will be the meeting leader. I'll be, as you guys, I'll raise my hand and comment. So he or she will be uh, running the meeting, and this also needs some skills. It will put you on spot. That's okay. We all know each other. So for the meeting, usually there are, let's say, maybe 2 or 3 things you want to do. One of them is the agenda. So you set an agenda, which is like the goals. So it's easy for you guys. So we will set the goal. The first one next week. We already know today we have 2 presenters. Next coming week, we already know there are 2 posters. So for you guys, whoever wants to run the next meeting, they will come and say, oh, our agenda today, we have part 1 will be presenting these 2 posters. So it's nothing. Second part is if there is any update about interview or interview tips. Third part about our progress with research, whatever activities, um, and ask if there is any uh, suggestion updates. And last part about the statistical thing, if you played around or um, what, how come. These are the agenda or the part of the meeting. I don't think it will change down the road. Maybe we will add some part about how we write, if how far we went in writing an abstract or a manuscript. Then the last part of the meeting will be preparing for next meeting. So who will talk about what topic, anyone volunteer or something. So next week we will do this. We can do it that way, or we can manage it. Look, next month, these 3 meetings, we will handle this. It's up to you guys. If you have certain topics that we want to address, any volunteer, anything. So it's just how you control how you want to be a leader in running a meeting, Zoom meeting. It's up to you guys. If you want to do that, that's well and good. If you think it's nothing you want to do, that's also absolutely fine with me.
Here, do that. I'm sorry, Lubaba. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I said, can the group leader do that? Like, I would say that will be even better. Like, he like they'll be the one that will give the summary after the meeting. So I don't think it's going to be like it's not a huge thing. Um, Controlling the meeting itself, I just suggested that. So whatever everyone is comfortable with, in a way.
So yeah, it's a really great idea, Dr. Nader. I really appreciate it. I was thinking about the same thing because at my work, at the point, they made us do that. So running the meeting, like they put you on the spot from the beginning. Like it's a group, we know each other, so we work with other like for years. It's easy. But I felt like it's really good. It felt give you like more confidence in yourself and how you handle things. And but I agree. I suggest we can take it a notch further. It's not going to be a voluntary thing, mandatory for every one of us to present, to run the meeting once at least. So if you
I think it's
agree,
a good idea.
but it's really good. It's really good. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Azza, go ahead. Excellent.
Oh, yes, I think this is a great idea, and I agree with Lubaba. Like, everyone should get the chance to do it. And I guess this is like part of our curriculum. This is part of our goals during this fellowship. Like, not only developing our research skills, but like part of the presentation and how to present yourself and present your topic. This is very important, I guess. And thank you, Dr. Nadir, for giving this opportunity to everybody. So yes, I think everybody should get involved into this, in doing this. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Azza. Khalid.
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Nadir and Lubaba and also Azza. I think it's a great idea to be able to run a meeting, and we will also benefit from it. And also, I have another suggestion. If we can add maybe like 10 to 15 minutes, if possible. I have an access to Gamma, like every meeting or like 15 minutes to go over a research summary, just to read it and to understand and have an idea about the language and how to better understand it and how to evaluate it.
That's great. That's a good idea. Good suggestion. Maybe that part will be attached to the part where we discuss about the research update. Maybe if you can submit, let's say, one article in advance so people can look at it, and then when in the meeting, we can go over key concepts or thing uh, about that topic in Java. I think it's a good idea to see what we are talking about and see how people are applying this in real time and update also. That's a great idea. Excellent. Uh, Anything else, Marwa, or anyone else? Yes.
Um, I like the idea that Khalid presented, and actually the ideas that you discussed earlier. Definitely, I agree with it. I have a suggestion about a topic that I think we can discuss or make a presentation about, which is critical appraisal. So, in order, just like rather than just like maybe just like mentioning like what the research did, or like this, we can put it in a form of critical appraisal. So this way you learn actually to know the quality of the research. And this is one of the things that is required even during residency to do, like part of journal club. Everyone at some point will have to be part of that, and be the one responsible for presenting. So I think it's a good thing. It will help not only fulfilling that part, but also for your like from personal point to like for each one to know um, what kind of research that could be like you can consider as high quality, and that will help you when you are doing research yourself to pay attention to the kind of mistakes that some papers or researches might fall into, or some of the things that make the paper weak, for example. So
also a very good suggestion. I remember when we were doing residency and fellowship, yeah, when we presented paper, we are also asked to do critique or analyze the paper as far as how what's the objective, did they reach the objective the right way. It's kind of 7 steps or some steps. What the method is the right method for that, and what the result is a right representation of what they say they did. Is it the best way to present it? And then the conclusion, that's the conclusion, go a similar way, like with what they say is there. Is it biased because they are supported by whatever company, pharmacy, in that sense? And then what the weakness, did they mention the weaknesses in their article, or there are some other hidden weaknesses that they did not share? So there is a way to analyze paper. Maybe we can figure out that way, and then as Khalid mentioned, we can take an article for JAMA and apply these 7 steps on this article, say what's the topic about and how important what they did, how did they do that, and then go over the steps so that we can then how to analyze this and how to make it better when we are writing ourselves. Good. Thank you so much, Marwan, Khalid, for all these suggestions. Great. Anything else in addition? Go ahead, Lubaba.
Yeah, it's a great idea, actually. I'm interested to present that. So,
oh, that would be great. If I don't have, I need to go back. It's kind of, there is a way, steps. So if you want to look that up, if it's somewhere, you can find it, how to analyze the paper and so forth and present to us so that we have a methodology of when you are reading a paper. Some people will read the first part and the end part and then say that's enough. Some people will go into details and check a checklist kind of approach. Great. Regarding leading the meetings, I think it's a good idea to involve all of you. What I think next step is each team and the team leader, they can assign dates for the coming few months. So next week will be, let's say I put you, Lubaba, and on the spot. So Lubaba will be leading the next team meeting, or not team meeting, the Zoom meeting. And then she will, or in your WhatsApp group, Lubaba next week, Khalid the week after, whatever. So you assign yourself between you according to whatever available time. Sometimes like today, Sumi and Mulham said they are at work or family reasons. So if you have your own work or family, we understand that. So you just select what day you're gonna be leading the Zoom meeting, and just prepare for that. Be ready. If things happen, then we can just, let's say Lubaba next week is supposed to, but she has family concern or something. Then the week after we'll jump in. Khalid will take place. So it will be just moved up. And then whenever Lubaba is ready, she can go back to the list of the meeting. Does it make sense? So you have, at least you know your day or Saturday where you will be the Zoom meeting leader.
Great idea.
Okay.
Just for the critical appraisal, it's going to be the week after next week, because next week we're going to do the posters. And
No. Yeah, I'm just putting just as example. Yeah, we can talk about the, yeah. So whoever wants to do the leading next week, that's fine. If not, I'll do the meeting next week.
Dr. Nader?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can lead the next meeting if you
Okay,
don't mind.
so okay, that's great. So Ali will do the next meeting, and then hopefully within the few coming days, you will have a list of who will be after that and that and that, and then Lubaba made it easy for you, Ali. So the week after, she will present about the critique. So if she wants to do it alone, that's fine. If someone wants to present with her, that's also
Okay.
kind of an option if it's a big topic or something
Uh,
else. Khalid, go ahead.
yeah, sorry. Also, there is some great YouTube videos from Syrian Medical Society. They are very good about critical appraisal of research papers and research in general, and I think it will be of great help for us if we apply this idea to have like every week 10 to 15 minutes for a research. I will share them with you on the WhatsApp group.
Sounds good. And sometimes all these videos are great, and sometimes you will find a video of 10 minutes, another video of 20 minutes, another video. All of them might have different concepts. Uh, I think it might be of benefit if someone of you interested in the topic, let's say Khalid or Lubaba, of presenting similar. So you can watch these videos and try to summarize it and make your own video and put it to the group. You don't have to present during the meeting. If you want to, that's well and good. But if you think you can summarize all these videos in a one video that you can do yourself, let's say I want to do about appraisal, they need to do similar to the presentation that Dalia and Azza did today. So these are the steps that we need to do, 1, 2, 3, and these are the whatever criteria. And then you can put the reference of these other videos in at the bottom of your description. So if I want to come to your video, I will look at it. It's only concise 7 minutes. If I want to get more detail, I will go to all these topics and I'll spend the whole hour looking at the other videos in details. Does it make sense, Khalid?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead, Lubaba. You want to?
No, I second that. It's a great idea. Thank you.
Excellent. Sounds good. Perfect. Marwa, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I've been talking too much today.
No, that's fine.
Just, I have one suggestion. Well, I believe this one goes for the leader of the month, maybe. So I think, for example, like we can, he or she can create this month. It's Khalid, so he can create maybe a Google sheet where we put maybe the list of the topics that we have covered so far in our presentations, and maybe even the suggestions can be added to that. So in order to track like what we have done so far, and if anyone has like, you can share it with the group. Anyone, if anyone have like a suggestion or just like, so nothing can be missed. I know like the leaders are doing great job on giving us like a summary of what has happened during the meeting, but I believe we sometimes we lose track of what was already covered. For example, like systemic review and meta-analysis was discussed very early, and at some point, like I even forgot that we discussed these topics. So if we put them, I think it's just like it might even draw the attention of everyone, maybe just even to go back to add these presentations and fill back any knowledge gaps that they have. I think it's a good idea. Also, I have a suggestion for each group leader. I think we can add some like more responsibility towards them, so they can make sure, for example, like for each one of their group, at least have like we can put like basic things that need to be covered, or the member has to already have done so far, or like for example certain improvements in certain areas. So it's like in a way it's not just like everyone like if I improve, that's it, okay. If not, like it's a way to push forward, like if we have any deficiency in certain areas, trying to improve on it. For example, if someone is good at a specific thing, they can teach others they can improve on, or we can put it as overall, like in the big group. I don't know if that makes sense. Thank you.
For me, it makes sense. Thank you so much, Marwa. That's great suggestion. Or good. While you want to say something, or someone else raise hand up. Okay, maybe I just. Okay. Great. Thank you so much for all the suggestion, all the comments. So one thing I want to share with you also is that here at the university, maybe other also institution, they want to do annual review for each faculty member, and then they discuss about what the area that you can improve on. You will look at what you did in the last year and what you plan to do in the next year. So one of the things that I was advised to do is take a study about leadership. So I'm taking a class here at MSU about leadership essential. So maybe I can bring something back to you guys also, tips for you from what I study as far as doing leadership. So just to put in mind. All right, share with you. Anything else? Any addition? Any subtraction? Any some? Good. All. So we know what we're gonna do next week. 2 posters, hopefully. You can work on the slides. Maybe some people will do some more slides in the same abstract and see what you can vote on, which one is best to present and submit. The questions and answer will be for the 2 posters next week. Hopefully you will have some time to work on SPSS, the data from the depression abstract. If you have access, that's well and good to the Excel. If you don't, talk to the team leader or the project leader. They can help. If not, let me know. I can share the data again. Try to get the t-test, try to get a bar graph. You can play with other types of graphs. And then we will see you next week. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of the day or night. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.